May the peace of God be with you. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the South Church. It's so good to see you amongst us. It's good to see some folks with us who haven't been here for a while. I know we've had folks traveling. We've had some folks under the weather. We had some visitors in our midst this morning, so welcome to you. I'd like to point out, we're working hard at getting the bulletin printed under a slightly different system, and occasionally we will make a mistake. On the back page, I'd like to alert you to two things. We always have a fellowship hour after the worship service where we go downstairs to the room right below this one, Fellowship Hall. We have some refreshments provided by members of the congregation. And this morning, those refreshments are being provided by Dennis Casienda, Sue Kevelson, and Tony Bombasino. They're not by Vivian Bornholm. Vivian, however, last week we noticed that we had some lovely, lovely roses that had been given to us for the worship service. And they looked so healthy and strong that Viv decided to take them home and nurture them over the week and bring them back in a slightly different arrangement today. So the flowers are courtesy of the Kersons who donated them and Vivian who babysat them for the week. I'd like to point out one more thing on the end of the bulletin. This will prevent me from having to stop and start in the middle of the worship service. The benediction response has been changed for the Lenten season. Those are those words printed under benediction response. I will give the benediction. I usually walk down the aisle and we'll do this response together. This is a Taizé song. Taizé is that tradition of chanting biblical phrases and short prayers. We had a beautiful Ash Wednesday service here this week, and we chanted Taizé. We chanted for much, much, much longer than we did the previous year, and it was a very, very moving worship service. I have to say the response to it was so good that we may try to have some more similar services throughout the year. Don't know when, haven't planned it exactly, but I have a feeling we'll be doing some more of that kind of worship before next Ash Wednesday. So this phrase is perhaps the most famous Taizé song. It's only 2 lines. And the piano will teach you the melody, and then we will sing it together 3 times in unison. And that will be our benediction response for the season of Lent. I'd like to mention a couple of birthdays actually a lot of birthdays this week. Today is the 21st. Don Berg has a birthday coming up on the 23rd. Laura O'Brien on the 24th. Emily Seibel on the 24th. Dennis Casienda on the 26th. Kelly Ryan on the 26th. Marjorie Barnett on the 27th. And that takes us until next Sunday, and I'll let you know who those are next Sunday. I don't have any anniversaries on the list to mention. Are there any other birthdays or anniversaries that we may have overlooked? Very good. Are there any announcements that anybody would like to make for the good of the fellowship? I direct your attention to the calendar, which is printed in your insert in your bulletin. There is a Board of Christian Education meeting today after the worship service in the library. PADS, of course, has a couple more months, and we are still looking for more PADS volunteers. It's never too late to get involved. We've had some new people step up and get involved just since the first of the year. And it's really excellent to see some new faces in that program. This Wednesday evening, I'm beginning a new program that's going to last for 5 weeks. I'm calling it Christianity 101 for want of a better name. It's sort of an introduction to the basics of Christian thought as we think Christian thoughts here at the South Church. It's also a pre-baptism class. If anybody would like to be baptized or have children that would like to be baptized, this is a way of preparing for that moment by learning some things about the Christian faith. I'm using some materials that I've found and we'll be adapting them for our specific purposes and our specific ways of looking at the Bible and theology. And I have some people who have said they will be there, so it's a go. And this Wednesday at 6, if you'd like to meet downstairs in the kitchen in the library, I'll be providing a simple soup and bread meal. And about 7 o'clock, we will start the program. I expect it to last no more than an hour and 15 minutes. Perhaps only an hour. We'll see. It's really going to be a discussion group as much as anything else. The deacons usually meet on Wednesday night, but they've changed their meeting to Thursday because the deacons are sort of sponsoring this this pre-baptismal class, which, as you know, isn't just for that. So the deacons are not meeting Wednesday, they're meeting Thursday at 7 p.m. And then next week, you have an insert in your bulletin about our Soup and Song program. I'm very excited, especially because I've been talking to the director quite a bit this week through email. We've been finalizing what music they're going to do during the worship service and what they're going to be doing during the concert. This is a concert by the Statesman Singers. They are a college singing group. They also have a pep band that's coming with them. And next Sunday, they will perform in our worship service. But what we're really advertising and encouraging you to bring friends to church for is that at noon we will have a soup buffet in the fellowship hall, lunch, and after that we will come back up here for a concert. And the concert will be 45 minutes to an hour long. And we're asking a $10 donation if you have it to help pay for the event, and we're going to share most of those resources, or at least half of those resources, with the music group that's coming from Lincoln Trail College. Any questions about that? All right. If there are no other announcements, I'd like to turn things over to Sandy Kolarz. Morning, Sandy.
So I'm laying on the couch, and I'm looking at my dog, who's laying on her orthopedic bed, wrapped in a blanket, ice pack on her knee. She has bad knee. Sleeping. And it occurs to me to think about why God created dogs. It just doesn't always make sense. For those of you who know me, at one time I co-owned as many as 4 dogs at one time, all of which had separate personalities. And as I was looking through some materials for this morning, I actually came across someone else who had pondered the very same thing. Why did God make dogs? I don't think it was accidental. So why do you suppose God invented or created dogs? Certainly there are some exceptions, because people can certainly breed dogs to be mean and vicious and bring out their worst traits. But in general, I have to say there is nothing more selfless, loving, or patient than a dog. Mistreated, it will still come back to you. Ignore it, and it never gives up hope that you will be its friend again. If you're in danger, it will protect you. We've even had stories of dogs that have rescued people. Make it wait days to go out and play, and it will sit and be ready for whenever you are. It offers you friendship and companionship. In return, it only asks for some food, some water, and a little scratch behind the ear. So why would God create dogs? I suppose if dogs were like people, they would eventually give up on us. But they never do. A dog's love is almost impossible to destroy, because it's not love you earn, it is love that is given. Put it simply, dogs love unconditionally. Unconditional love, unending patience, faithfulness to the very end. Do you suppose perhaps that maybe God made dogs to show us a little something about God's self? Do you think that perhaps man's best friend was actually meant to remind us of all of God's actions in our lives? If you'll stand as you choose, and join me in singing hymn number 287, Lift High the Cross. Hymn number 287. Gracious God, you call us to prayer, and you offer yourself to all who seek your presence. When we get tired or hungry, when we feel angry and alone, or when we wander about in the wilderness, help us to stop and remember that your gifts of love and mercy are with us. Help us to remember, like the people of ancient Israel, to acknowledge that all things come from your bountiful hands. Help us also to remember what you ask us to do in making this world a better place. Loving God, we worship and thank you for giving us the strength for every journey and the courage for every test. Amen.